being recorded. Is that correct?
Yes.
Lon?
Yes.
Okay, so we're using a new feature today. We're using Microsoft Teams. It's something that the town has made available. Lonnie Tenio is online. We're starting to record meetings, as many as we possibly can, so if people want to go back and listen to anything. So this meeting is now being recorded, just so everyone knows. Over to you, Chair.
All right, so we will start with reading the script for remotely conducted open meetings. We will now call the meeting to order at 6:04. As a preliminary matter, this is Joe Cronin, Chairman of the Mendon Police Station Building Committee. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated are on the agenda are present and can hear me. Don?
Yes.
Tim? Chief?
Yes, I'm here.
Linda?
I'm here.
Thank you. Eric Peterson?
I'm here.
Micah Mandalia? All right, Moritz?
Here.
Very good. JP?
Yes, here.
Terrific. Okay. Anticipated speakers on the agenda. I know I've heard Mary. I know I've heard Peter. Is there anybody else? Okay. Are there any other present on the line, listening or watching online? All right. If anyone should join during the meeting, please pause all discussion so I can determine the name and affiliation of the joining member. Don?
Here. Yes. You want to turn it over to me?
Yes, please.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. This open meeting of the Mendon Police Station Building Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth from the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The governor's order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting on the Mendon Town website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will allow public comment. For this meeting, the Mendon Police Station Building Committee is being convened by Microsoft Teams and telephone conference as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. And the materials are also posted on the website as well. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We will now turn to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I, the chair, will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will invite committee members to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking, and please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you, and please state your name before speaking. And if members wish to engage in discussion with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted via roll call. Everybody all set with that? All right, so first item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes from May 6th, 2020, which was last Wednesday for our meeting. Everyone has received the meeting minutes. Dawn sent them around. Do we have a motion to accept the meeting minutes?
So I move to approve the meeting minutes from May 6, 2020.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. You take it, Eric.
Do we have any comments or questions on the meeting minutes?
I had one comment from Mary. I had just incorrectly captured one part of the curbing, the granite. Basically, how the way that the contractor installed the granite per the drawings. I originally had said, and I just changed the verbiage to the contractor installed the granite per the drawings. After the granite was installed, the concrete sub made tower aware the slopes did not comply with the 2% max slope for ADA compliance. It was really the concrete subcontract that identified the problem. And I didn't have that accurately in a minute. So I'm just going to make that change. So I will move to approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
Thank you very much, Eric. Do we have any other comments or questions on the meeting minutes? All right, we will do the roll call vote for approval. Dawn?
Aye.
Chief?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Morris?
Aye.
Thank you. JP?
Abstain, I missed that meeting.
Okay. Moving on, we've got the open action items on the decisions and action log, the status of the rings for the Historical Commission. Don, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. So after our meeting last week, I took the action to go to the Historical Commission meeting last Thursday, just to ask them about that concrete block with the rings in it that was outside the threshold of the former fire station. Went to their meeting last Thursday just to agree on what to do with it. Originally, we were hoping to leave it in that location, but in order for us to really put the concrete walk in properly, that wasn't feasible. So the commission decided, let's just hold on to it. Maybe we can put it somewhere else on the site, maybe out in the grassy area out front, sometime later in the project. They also expressed an interest for them to put together some kind of a storyboard to go along with it. So we agreed to do that. Eric Peterson volunteered to store it at his shop. So Eric picked it up yesterday. It is now safely stored in Eric Peterson's shop, and we will wait to hear back from the Historical Commission regarding, placement of it sometime in the future. While I was at the meeting, they also asked about a thermometer that was on the outside of the building. Chief Kersey has that thermometer. It was restored by Richard Skinner, Dick Skinner, from town a while back. Chief Kersey has that now, and he's going to install that sometime in the future as well. Back to you.
Very good. Does anybody have any questions on the status of the rings for the Historical Commission? Okay. Moving on, the next item is for you as well, Don, the extension of the builder's risk insurance.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Don. So the builder's risk insurance expires a week from today, May 20th. So I reached out to the town administrator, and she put me in touch with the town's insurance advisor, and I received quotes this afternoon on extension of the insurance. So basically what we need to do is just give some direction to the insurance provider, how many additional months after May we want to extend this by. They wanted us to go longer than anticipated because we can always just get a credit back versus just go and extend it for 3 months and it turns into 4 months and then we have to extend it again. So they gave me a quote for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, and 6 months. And we need to just provide some direction of how many more months past May 20th we think we will need for builder's risk insurance. So we don't know when we're going to resume the work inside the building. Theoretically, there's another 23 working days or 4.5 to 5 weeks of work inside the building, plus a few weeks of testing and balancing and stuff like that. So there's at least 8 weeks of work left. So at least 2 months from when we start. So it's just a matter of we don't know when we're going to start. My intention is to ask the select board at their next meeting on Monday to try to start soon, but we don't know if that's going to happen. So I would just open some discussion of how many more months do we think we want to get the insurance, and then when it ends early, we just the town gets the credit back.
I assume that when the credit comes back, it would come back to the committee's budget, not to the town's general coffers.
Well, by that point, we're going to turn whatever we have back into the town anyway to finish the alternates. So I don't honestly, I'm not sure if it matters, but I would assume that it would come back that in that method, because it's going to be paid out through one of the building committee's accounts, right?
Mary, do you have any thoughts on the length of the duration for this?
Well, if the cost is coming back, I don't know if it matters. I mean, we have no idea when we're starting. And we know the schedule is going to be stretched out based on the CDC requirements of spacing in the building and proper distancing. So if we, do we want to be safe and say 4 months? We know it's going to be 2.
I was thinking 4 months myself.
I'm sorry, Joe, what were you saying? 3?
I was thinking 4 months myself.
Yeah, 4.
along with Mary said.
I think that makes a lot of sense. That'll take us, through June, July, August, September. So we'll have basically through September 20th. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Well, it gives us a little bit of a cushion in case we need it. Hopefully we don't.
So this is Pete, and we also have punch listing, which is going to be 45 days per contract. So yeah, 4 months sounds good. I mean, I don't think they're going to lower the price. If we go longer, they might raise it. But if you can lock in at this price, then I think that would be the best thing to do.
Pete, I would assume a lot of the punch list is going to be done during occupancy, and at that point, it'll be a town-owned building.
Okay. So you don't have to pay the bills
Some of
interest.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some of it
okay.
will be overlap.
It's after substantial
Okay.
completion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I will respond back to say 4 months, which will take us through September 20th, which should be a good cushion for us. The only other question they had was, when will the sprinkler system be operational?
This is Pete, and I believe it is now. We've had the air tests and the water tests. I don't know if they turn the water back off. I know they had it off because of the weather, yeah, but I would think it could be turned on now because we're in May. So I'm pretty sure, like Mary's saying, it is off, but we could get them to turn it back on.
If you turn it back on, is there any sort of monitoring for the fire alarm system at this point, or not yet?
I don't know the answer because that's the electrician. That's a different.
I don't think they're
Subcontractor.
tied into the alarm. They're not tied into the alarm company
Yeah.
yet. That happens right at the end.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is no, but I still don't know.
Just in my opinion, I wouldn't be comfortable leaving that system on and there's no alarm or alert or anything that's tied in to monitor that.
Morris, I'm in
Okay.
agreement with you on that statement.
Okay, so
Okay.
what I'll do is I'll respond to them that the sprinkler system is currently installed and ready, but it's not operational yet. And I think the only reason they're asking is that the price of the insurance may
Exactly.
drop when that happens, right? So they just want to get an idea of when that is. So I'll tell them, we'll let them know when the sprinkler system gets turned on. How's that?
Yeah, that works.
Joe, if I can just interject real quick too, that just a question I just thought of is, do we have a general status of the rest of the systems, be it domestic water and things like that inside the building? I know we're most likely out of freezing temperatures at this point, but if you get some freak cold spell or somebody gets in there somehow or whatnot, just to make sure we don't have an issue with potential water or something like that.
Morris, they're heating the building?
Yep. I'm just
and the
thinking if there's a
domestic
leak
water-
right now and nobody's inside the building, how do we know about it?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
pipe let
they,
go.
Yeah,
well, most of the water is shut off because we didn't want anybody using the toilets or the sinks. So we
Okay.
shut it off at the main, and we're also waiting for the plumber to confirm that a pressure booster was installed. There was some concern with the water
Okay.
pressure in some of the areas. So the plumber has not been back in the building, but I do know Tower has checked on the building occasionally.
Okay. Don, you all set with builder's risk now?
Thank you very much. Yes.
Okay. Later in the project, we've got the furniture options and salvaging the LED lighting. We'll just keep those on hold for the time being. Moving right along, the OPM update, Mary?
Okay, the site work is continuing. If anybody drove by, you'll see the stone wall is installed in front of the existing fire station, along with the sidewalks along that side. The granite curb was installed today on the side abutting the town hall. That sidewalk will be tied into the existing sidewalk and to the roadway. There is also a stone wall over there that started. The stone wall will be completed once the sidewalks are finished in both those areas. There's a sidewalk that needs to continue from the road side of the existing building to the egress door off the meeting room and then down to the main entrance. Tomorrow, the contractor is installing the granite in that area. Dave McKinley and myself were out on site 2 days ago confirming the grades and the slope with the contractor. Everybody worked in harmony and stayed out there a long time, taking as many readings as they needed. He does not have approval, but he doesn't want to wait. He's concerned with the town hall possibly opening up again. We're trying to get the pavement in the end of next week, but now we have 2 more days of rain. It looks like Saturday and Monday are a wash at this point. But he's doing what he can to get that parking lot complete before the town hall opens up to the public. The exterior painting will be complete tomorrow. Anything that's left on the punch list will be done when they come back to do the interior. The roofer is done completely. All the boots are on. And that's where we are. It's all site work at this point, just trying to get it done. Any questions?
I do have one question. This is JP. Or two, actually. One is on the, that stone wall, that portion that they've, looks like sort of half of it, looks like they sort of completed it, I guess.
Yep.
Is that meet what the design intent was for that stone wall? It looks pretty much like a
It's
pile of
just-
stones.
That's what I questioned too. It's supposed to look like a New England rubble wall, like a,
Does
they
not.
picked them up out of the field.
It looks like a pile of rocks, my opinion. I don't know if anybody's,
Yeah.
I've only driven by it, so I haven't seen it. Like,
I
That's
actually
nice.
asked David McKinley to look at it when we were on site and he approved it, but I can ask him to look at it again. I thought the same thing. I also thought it was a bunch of projectiles for the windows at the chief's office.
well, there's always that. But it just seems like there's a bunch of large holes. I don't know. Normally you sort of chink in smaller rocks and I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
that
we'll
was
look at it again.
That was the intended
All of those-
design. I guess it's okay.
Yeah, but maybe they can fill in a few spots. They haven't punched it out. They said it looks good. And those are all the rocks that lined the property between Shelley and the existing building originally.
Yeah.
Just so the historical commission knows they were saved and reused.
All right. My other question, sorry, is, and maybe this goes to Don or Joe, I'm not sure, but where they put in that granite curb up to that existing sidewalk in front of the town hall, like,
Yes.
is there anything, does anybody know in the master plan to kind of extend that? Be nice, awfully, too bad we can't do that now, but to extend that curb in front of the sidewalk in front of the town hall, but I know that's not in our scope right now.
I do know, I was speaking with Dan Byer on site this week. He had some questions. And evidently Ann Mazar and him are working on a grant for the campus to finish the plan. So that may come into play with them.
Anyway, I'm just a random question. That's all I
No,
got.
it's a good question, because it's a
No,
safety
it's a good
issue.
comment.
You're putting people out into the road, and now that those planters there, they're out into the road even further.
Right.
Yeah, and this is Don. There is money in the town budget for some site work, campus, town hall campus work. I know Kim has something. And whatever we're able to turn back in when we're done to do alternates 2 and 3 to finish the paving and everything, she's hoping to do one whole site project. Knock down the building, pave the rest, and do whatever else they can. And supplement it, as Mary stated, with any grants or stuff like that. So it will be a master plan, and it will be under Kim Newman's watch, not ours.
Okay. Thanks, Don.
Thank you, Don.
Hey,
All
Joe,
right, Mary.
I'm Chief Kersey here for a minute.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Chief.
So I went
Yes.
outside just to look at the stone wall again a little bit closer. I mean, it's so-so. I do agree with JP. They kind of just threw it together. If you look down at Shelley's, you can see what a New England stone wall looks like. It just looks a little bit like Shelley's, but I mean, they just, like JP said, they put all small stuff on the top where most of these walls have, bigger square ones on top, and it looks more like a wall where it looks like they put a good base on this, but then they just threw crap on the top of it.
Yeah, I think Shelley does a lot of granite in it too. He has some good sized square pieces in there. I'll have David McKinley look at it again.
Yeah, I mean,
mean,
usually
that-
on the top you have some big pieces instead of just they
Right.
put all the big stuff on the bottom and then all small stuff on the top. They mix
Yeah,
it
no,
all.
this is more of it's a wedding cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the stone walls like that, that's just a thrown together, that is far from being I mean, that's just a piled up rocks. They put the big ones at the bottom, and I mean, when we do like if I'm doing a quick boulder wall, they do the big ones on the bottom and, fill in the top, but with medium to big ones, not just a bunch of small stuff. And if you saw like the little rocks they threw around the cement for the base of the sign, they just kind of stacked in the corner there. But I don't think those guys are not, those are site guys. They're not masons by any means. You know what I mean?
No, so the sign is not complete. I questioned that today. That's going to get reworked when they bring the sign in. That's why that's not done. But Pete, can you have David look at the stone wall again and make sure it meets the design?
Yeah, I was
Yeah, and I
just
don't mind
staying
coming
back
down either.
listening to. I was staying back listening to everyone else. I'll get in touch with David and make sure they change that, because it's got to at least match Shelley's wall to be consistent coming down Main Street. I have not seen it myself, so now that I've heard this, I'll definitely get that squared away.
And I'm not ripping on those guys on, I mean, they stacked up rocks, and it's just, I mean, a mason's a mason. They can do a lot with a dry stacked wall. But I mean, that was just kind of, if that wall was in the back, the wall doesn't look that great. $6 million project.
No. Eric, I agree totally. That's a front facade, street facade, and it's gotta look perfect. I have not laid eyes on it, but we will make sure it at least matches Shelley's wall, if not better.
Yeah.
And Pete, I'm available when he comes out to go out there with him too and point out,
Sure.
with Shelley's. I mean, with Shelley's, it's
Okay.
not all granite either. Sometimes some of the square stuff, like Eric said,
Yeah.
you have site guys putting it together. You have a mason putting it together. Even they're not cementing it, they're gonna break. They're gonna chip them and make square edges so it looks nice.
Sure. Yeah. I also want to, get into the documents to say, see if we said to reuse what was already on site, because that's a different story,
And I know if I'm
to make
reusing it, I mean, you reuse like Eric said with a mason, you get a good one with the stones. They're gonna make those look nice. I mean, I've had a couple stones built with natural stuff, and they're out there, chiseling out the edges to make it look like
Sure.
a pile of stone. So.
Yeah. I mean, this guy's, in a machine moving rocks around. He's not out there finessing each stone. So let me
David,
read the
like-
spec and the drawings. Exactly. And Dave and I will get out there and get this straightened out.
Pete,
Uh-oh.
in the drawings on L 6.02, there's a detail there along with a photograph for the what they refer to as the tossed fieldstone wall.
Yes. Yes.
We could plant some poison ivy on it, and then the vines would cover it, look just like Shelley's farm. It would fun.
Yeah.
Thanks,
all right.
Eric.
Okay.
That's all I gotta say.
Yep. I'm on it.
Okay, Mary, continuing on.
I don't think I have anything else other than the update of what we're doing. We're not doing, we're not into, the soils. So I forwarded what we thought with the soils and the cost over to Castle Booze. Towers obviously taking a stand that it's too late to bring this to them now, that they weren't given the opportunity to change their ways or hire their own person. This has come up a couple times throughout the project where we were directed that the owner did own the testing, and now it's changed. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Pete.
So Dave and I spoke to Patrick today, trying to resolve issues with the soils as well as the grading issues with the granite curb. So Patrick, he's looking to get more information on the reports. And then, he said he's willing to possibly lower his pricing on the granite curb grading issue, and then throw out the soils testing. But so he's working on that. He's going to get back to us.
Okay. So it's a work in progress.
Yeah, we're trying to resolve it. Trying to resolve both issues together.
All right. Pete, you want to do your update, please?
Joe,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, there was one more item for Mary under her agenda.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say, Don. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking the parking lot boulders. I was thinking the stone wall. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. I'm trying to find the agenda. What do I need now, Dawn?
The parking lot boulders, Mary, that the site contractor
yeah,
unearthed.
Yep, Ellen and I haven't been able to pull over them together because I didn't want to pull them off the parking lot. He stored them in the back. I think 2, maybe 3. Lee was going to go by and look at them too. He had 7, but he agreed right away. No, some of these aren't large enough. So I just need to measure them with Alan so we both agree. So hopefully if he has time tomorrow, if not early next week, because I don't want to pull him off anything.
So they got to be 2 cubic yards or greater.
Correct. One of
Okay.
them, definitely.
Yeah. One looked big. I mean, from a picture, I couldn't really tell, but.
All right, so you'll get the measurements and everyone will come to an agreement on those?
Yep. Yep. Best to do it together.
Okay. All right, Pete, your turn.
Yes, Chair, this is Pete from KBA. And my first item is R5 number 105, the water pressure. We're waiting to get back into the building to resolve this issue in R5 per the plumbing contractor. My second item is COP number 59, site grading. We're working with Tower to come to a solution with that, tied into the soil testing cost from Yankee as well. Confirmation of the sleeve for the headstone. I've sent an email to Tower today, and they have not responded. So I have nothing to confirm on that item. Change order number 13. I only have COP number 57, which is the concrete foundation with $2,000. So I'm holding out on that to wait to see if we have any boulder COP coming in, as well as possibly a number on the granite curbing. So that's on hold. Request for payment. They sent in their final today for the amount of $135,340.22. I still have not seen any stored materials for the carpet, and I have not seen an updated schedule. Tower promised that they would get them to me today before 6 p.m. I don't have them. Oops, my phone just went off. Maybe that's them. So, we can recommend payment pending the receipt of the stored materials for the carpet and the CPM schedule.
Okay, Mary, have you had an opportunity to go through the requisition?
Pete and I go through it together, and this is
Gotcha.
the corrections that went back to them.
Thank you. All right.
Stop in that shower.
This is JP. Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
Pete, earlier when it was Don or somebody mentioned about the water pressure, that there was a question going back to the plumber about a pressure booster or something. Is there supposed to be a domestic water booster pump in the building, or that?
It's actually a tank, not a pump.
Tank. Okay.
All right, getting back to the payment requisition. Do we need to do a motion for that, Don, for payment?
Well, the question is, do we want to make a motion to pay and hold on to it till we get the stored materials for the carpet and the schedule, or do we just want to wait till our next meeting? It's really your preference.
I can go either way.
Yeah.
We're waiting.
I recommend waiting.
That's fine.
Yeah, honestly, just like in the past, they're still 2 months in arrears from cashing their checks. They haven't cashed their March or April checks yet anyway. So apparently they don't really need the money. So just joking. But anyway,
we're also meeting every week, not twice a month or once a month. So it's not really time,
I can go either way. Would you like me to make a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hold on one sec. I actually have, okay, I've got it right here. So I took the requisition and I broke it up for CPA versus non-CPA. So I move to approve the request for payment number 15 from Tower Construction, the amount of $135,340.22, broken up $96,440.59 from capital and $38,799.63 for CPA. And I also used the $100 donation from Representative Murray in this requisition as well for $100 out of that account, for a total of $135,340.22, pending receipt of proof of stored materials for carpet and a critical path method schedule.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any comments,
questions on the motion?
I do have a couple questions, just briefly. This is JP. I know they haven't been in the building for, I don't know how long, but they are charging up to 100% a couple of interior finish items. Is that accurate? Like flooring? And if nobody can get in the building, how do we? Can't really
Which
inspect it.
flooring? So the flooring was already done in dispatch and the upper level, and the main lobby. Some of the flooring was already done before we closed.
Doesn't say what area. It just says, I'm looking at,
Does it say rubber, resilient, VCT? All right, let me see if I can pull it up, because Pete and I went through that.
LVT.
Yeah.
LVT.
Yeah, that's the luxury, that's
1,
the luxury vinyl tile.
labor 100%. LVT 2, labor 100%. And vinyl VT is 58%. Then they're also charging some for ACT ceilings. It's not to 100%, but I'm just wondering if was this all done in the last month, or is this older charges? And were they in the building?
Charges.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
No, they're older charges. They underbilled before.
Okay, so we're okay with those. Those are
Yes,
all
we went.
done? They're okay.
we went
That's
through.
okay that they're 100% on those. Just concern for any of these that, if things are suspended, we want to make sure they come back and finish whatever they need to finish. So holding money is good.
Yeah, the flooring contractor's actually been begging to get back in because they're worried that Boston Jobs, their Dorchester contractor, they're worried when their Boston Jobs open up, they're not going to have enough people.
Right. So we want to make sure we are holding some money on them. But anyway.
All right, do we have any other comments? Thank you for those, JP.
No, that's it.
All right, all in favor of Don's motion? Don?
Aye.
Pete?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Maurice?
Aye.
JP?
Aye.
Okay. All right, moving right along, we've got invoice approvals, chair OPM spending approval.
So, Mr. Chairman, before we go on, could I just ask, I just wanted to clarify one thing on the granite curbing, just to make sure we're all on the same page, if
Yes,
I
please
may.
do. Yes.
So, Pete from KBA just said that they're working with Tower to resolve this. I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page on how we got to where we were, because I just want to make sure, I'm not exactly sure. I want to make sure we're aligned on what the next steps are. So I just tried to summarize this earlier today. So we had received the first change order proposal number 59 from KBA that came from Tower, and it had, some costs in there to remove the curbing and reinstall it. And there were two different numbers. The difference was whether the granite needed to be replaced or not. That was on April 28th. On April 29th, we got a revised one, Rev 1, which was reduced by a couple $100 because some of the granite was not installed properly. Is that correct, Pete? That's what that reduction was, from 9,600 to 9,000 and from 7,400 to 7,200, because Dave McKinley and Tower had agreed that some of the curbing was installed incorrectly? Hello?
Pete, are you out there?
Are you looking for me?
No,
We're looking for Pete from KBA.
I don't know if he's still on.
Don, I think we may have lost him. We will,
Yeah, his number is not showing up anymore. So he must have dropped. But anyway, my point is, we received a revised change order that when I accidentally put the wrong numbers in our minutes from April 29th, because I used the first change order and not the revised one. So I need to consider amending our minutes that we approved last week, but we'll come back to that in a moment. What I then wanted to just proceed with was, after we got that revised change order, we met on the 29th, and we assigned an action for Mary, Dave McKinley, and Eric Peterson. We're going to go meet Tower the next day to do measurements on the granite to make sure that they understood what was installed properly and what was not. The next morning, on April 30th, the subcontractor showed up in the rain and removed all the curbing, so we didn't have an opportunity to measure it, unfortunately. Then last week, on May 6th, KBA came and presented the revised response to the COP Rev 1, basically rejecting their proposal due to lack of coordination by the general contractor. So that's how we got to where we are now. And they issued a CCD last week saying proceed with the work, give more time but no money. And then Tower basically came back and issued a 3-page letter last Friday in response to that CCD number 4, basically taking exception to what KBA had issued. And now Pete has said now that they're trying to negotiate and work that out. But I just wanted to make sure that at this point, the ball is in Kesselboo's court to respond to Tower's letter somehow. And I just wanted Pete to confirm that, but it looks like we lost him.
Mary, can you follow up with Pete on that tomorrow and just see if we can get a confirmation on that, please?
I am. I'm trying to contact him now. I just sent him a text to tell him to call back in.
Well, what I'll do, you know what I'll do, Joe? I just read my summary. I have it all typed out. What I'll do is I'll take an action to send my summary to Pete and copy Mary and you, and just say, please confirm that this is where we are now and this is the next step. How's that?
Very good.
And to add to that, Don, I appreciate what you've been doing. We need to ensure that the OPM is included in this correspondence, because there's been a lot of correspondence from KBA that the OPM is not included on.
That shouldn't be happening.
And it's happening to both the contractor and the owner. And I've spoken to Mike McEwen about this before.
Okay. I'll note that
All
in
right.
the minutes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So I had some feedback on, I'll say the couple items that you sent around with regards to the curbing. I know I saw the coordination spec and things like that you had forwarded along from KBA. I guess my only comment on that is that while I agree that the spec talks about coordination and talks that the contractor is responsible for coordinating the work, and based on what I could read through what the AIA document and the specifications, the contractor owns notifying KBA if there's a discrepancy with existing conditions, but not if there is a discrepancy in, I'll say, from a code standpoint on newly installed work or newly to be installed work. If we're meeting up to existing sidewalks and that doesn't meet some sort of ADA requirements, then yes, they would be required to notify KBA. But if there's an issue with newly to be installed work, I don't see where that's the contractor's responsibility.
Yep.
Agreed, Morris. I think at this point in time, we're just trying to let KBA and Tower see if they can come to some type of agreement in working this out.
Mhm.
Hopefully they can work.
Yeah,
it
not
out
to take
amongst
people's
themselves.
time. Yeah, I just kind of know, I deal with it quite a bit, and again, not everybody may have, I'll say contractor construction experience, but that term coordination gets thrown around very loosely. Just to clarify.
Okay. Yeah, I had talked to Mike Mandelaire earlier today too, and he shared some of the same thoughts.
Yeah, so I just wanted to align on all this because I just wanted to make it clear that it's KBA is the one that pushed back on this, not the town. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we were prepared to resolve the, change order. We thought the number was high and we were going to go sharpen our pencils and try to remove potentially some of the granite curbing that wasn't put in correctly, and or they had 2 days in there for the superintendent, which obviously the superintendent is on site anyway because the project isn't near being completed. So, I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page of how we got to where we are, and the ball is clearly in Kessel Boo's court.
Don, this is JP. Quick question on that. So when you're saying that KBA and Tower is trying to still work this out, does that mean that that number could potentially change still, or what?
Yeah, this is Don. I don't know. I haven't been privy to their conversations. My assumption is they're going back to what we had discussed a couple of weeks ago, which was the change order was like $7,000 to redo the curbing, and they were going to go back and see if they could negotiate that number based on some of the curbing. I know Pete also mentioned that some of the curbing may have had veining in it. There were other things they were going to go back to look at. And like I said, the first item on that change order was 2 days of site superintendent work. The super's here through the end of May. They're not done with the site work anyway. I mean, why are they charging for 2 extra days of his work when he's here supervising other people anyway? So they were I think the number was gonna come down south of 7,000. And then they would bring it back to us. That's where I think they are, but I can't speak for Kessel Boo's.
Okay. Thank you.
How many,
They were also looking at the cost for Yankee in there too.
what, can I have a quick question? How many feet of granite were they having to redo, and they wanted $7,000 for how many feet of granite curbing to put in?
Let me look up the backup. Hold on. I wish Pete was still here, but
It wasn't much more than 50 feet, right?
No, I want to say 40. Either 20 or 40. I gotta look.
So they wanted, and we already have the granite, so they were looking at, I mean, that's almost $200 a foot to put curbing.
This was to remove the granite that was already installed and cemented, and then
Right.
reinstall it.
But wasn't there other work involved? There's also concrete and wasn't there other work involved or no?
So if you look
Well,
at,
they'll have
Come to work with that, yes.
if you
Yeah,
look
they'll
at
have to cradle it again.
if you look in your packet, change proposal number 59, Reb 1. It was to remove the work in place and make site grading, curbing, sidewalk preparation changes. So it basically was reworking what they had done. And then,
Okay, so my other question was, if it was the Castle Boost that set the grades and it was incorrect, or if the contractor put them in wrong, how is that our problem? I'm not being a smart ass. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, they've made mistakes before, and we've had to pick up the price. But why should we pick up $7,000 or $9,000 or even $1,000 if somebody else dropped the ball? You know what I mean? That would be like taking your car to the body shop and they paint it the wrong color, and then they charge you to paint it again. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me, but.
So Pete's not on the line. The difference in public construction is there's always an acceptable amount of errors and omissions, that no documents are perfect.
Right.
And that's why you have a contingency. That being said, we can certainly approach Castle Boo's on this.
yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is Don again. Yeah, again, like 2 weeks, I know it's unfortunate, but there were mistakes in the survey, and there were some mistakes in the drawings. And as Mary stated, that's what contingency is for. And we were trying to bring that number down. We were willing to go for something, but we weren't sure what that number was. So I think we're at this point, the action is let's see what Kessel Booz comes back with. We can look at it next week and then we can have discussions of how to proceed. And I looked in the curb replacement. If you look in the backup, the last page of the proposal lists all the different pieces of curb. And it says 8 feet of straight flush curb, 23 feet of straight curb, and then 2 6-foot transitions. So if my math does me right, that's 43 feet.
That's what I get to.
On a good note, he's gonna be able to reuse all of it. None of it snapped, even though it was all concreted. There's one little piece that he's gonna be able to butter together, and that's about it.
Okay, well, let's see how Tower and KBA do, and we can revisit this at our next meeting and see what the outcome is. And this is a little bit of comfortability on every side here, so.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Anybody else have any other comments, questions on that? Don, are you all set with granite curbing now?
Yes, thank you. I will address the minutes mistake in the items not reasonably anticipated, since I just discovered that today.
Okay. All right, so moving along, invoice approvals, chair OPM spending approvals.
I don't think there's been any shopping.
Linda, you had the Castle Booze invoice?
Linda, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Okay, how about now? Good?
There you go.
All right,
Yeah.
sorry about that. Okay, I have the Castle Booze closeout from an invoice date of 4/30/20 for $6,000. And that is broken up 3,000, so 50/50 CPA, capital expenditure. The change on this one was the warrant date, because it was originally set for last week. And now it'll be set for next Thursday.
So I move to approve invoice from Kessel Booz for $6,000 for closeout items dated April 30th, 2020, half coming from CPA account, half coming from capital expenditure.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or questions on the Castle Booze invoice?
Yeah, Joe, this is Don. This is just last week. I explained this, that Kessel Booz has agreed not to increase the contract price. They've agreed just to bill on the closeout instead of over a couple of months. They're going to spread that out over multiple months. So this is 1/3 of the closeout item in the contract, but it's really, they acknowledge that it's not closeout work. It's just they don't want to increase the contract to the town at this point in time.
And they don't want to increase it because of some of the ongoing situations we've had with some of the errors and omissions, Don, like we were talking about for the granite curbing a few minutes ago.
I don't know why they don't want to, but Mike McEwen said he doesn't want to charge us more. So I said, thank you very much.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Any other comments or questions? All right, we will do the roll call vote. Don?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Linda?
I
Eric?
Aye.
Laurit?
Aye.
JP?
Aye.
Okay. I think that's it as far as I know for invoice approvals, chair OPM spending. Items not reasonably anticipated 48 hours prior to the meeting.
So,
I
Mr.
have
Chairman,
one.
I have one too. Oh, go ahead, Linda.
No, it's Mary.
Oh, Mary.
Is it about Ann Mazar? You can take it if it is.
Nope.
Okay. Ann sent out an email about solar in the back parking lot. That's not part of this project, correct? That's something she's working on with that grant and the campus plan.
Correct.
Yep. Good. Just wanted to make sure.
No, I think she's looking at that as part of the master plan for the town hall campus.
That was,
Yeah, I can-
that was my impression.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is Don. She was looking for how much room was back there. What was the square footage of the area? Because she's trying to put some plans together for solar carports in the whole campus. So I gave her a drawing and an estimate based on the scale of the square footage for those parking. There's 14 parking spots behind the generator, I guess is the best way to put it, behind that pad back there. And it looks like it was about, I don't know, 50 feet by 80 feet or something. I sent her a response and a copy of the print, so.
So my
that
only
should take
comment,
care of it.
yeah, Ann does a great job, and there is gonna be that monstrous generator there when you tear down the building. I know part of the intent was to open up the view, and the view of that back area is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm sure Ann will take that into account when she plans this.
Yeah, that's why she's looking at the very back. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. And it'll be part of the master plan, to your point. It won't be part of this project.
Great.
I do have
Okay.
one item. Last week, we approved the minutes from April 29th, and I inadvertently used the wrong dollar amounts for that change order proposal for the granite curbing. I used the original amount and not the revised amount. So I need to consider amending the minutes that we approved last week. Basically just changing the dollar amounts from $96.93 and 53 cents if the curbing had to be replaced to $9,036 and 65 cents. And then if the curbing could be reused, went from 74.4808 to 72.47 and 12 cents. So I move to amend the minutes that we approved last week, just changing the dollar amounts.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you, Eric. Does anybody have any comments for Don? All right, we will do the roll call vote. Don?
Aye.
Keith?
Aye.
Linda?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Morris?
Aye.
JP?
I guess technically I should abstain because I couldn't vote on those original ones anyway, so.
All right. Thank you all. Does anybody else have anything to bring up for discussion? All right, next meeting, date, time, and agenda. Don, you had mentioned that the Board of Selectmen is meeting on Monday?
Yeah, so Mr. Chairman, this is Don. The select board was originally planning to meet tomorrow evening, and their agenda included what actions to take in response to the governor's new guidance as of May 18th. The governor today basically stated he's not giving any more information until the 18th. So the select board decided to wait for that guidance, and they moved their meeting from tomorrow to Monday night. One of the items on the agenda is to have a discussion about whether or not to resume work on the interior of the police station. They're going to wait to hear what the governor has to say first, and then they'll make some decision on whether to proceed with opening the work. My only comment is, in the past, what they've done is they've just given us direction to go and work with Kessel Booz on a CCD. They don't actually, approve a CCD or anything. We do that. So we need to be prepared to take some direction from the select board on Monday night on how to proceed. I mean, we could post for Monday night as well, if people are available, and then based on what the select board decides, we can then just have a quick discussion, approve a change directive to say proceed with the interior of the building and be done with it. Or we could, do it later in the week. But that's basically what my suggestion is sooner rather than later. If the select board is willing and comfortable with proceeding, from my perspective, the sooner we get back in there, the better.
Do we know what time the Board of Selectmen is meeting on Monday?
Monday at 6:30. And they're obviously going to be waiting to hear what the governor has to say. I'm not sure if Selectman Tinio is still out there, if he might want to add anything at this point. I don't know if he's out there. He probably isn't.
Lonnie?
I think he's at the FinCom meeting. So,
Okay.
so yeah, I would just wait to hear. I mean, if the governor is easing the restrictions, the guidelines, maybe the select board will say, okay, it's okay to resume the work. I'd hate to wait a couple more days to tell that to Kessel Booz and Tower, because we just don't have a meeting posted.
You want to post one for Tuesday?
I was thinking
Are you-
Monday, but
I would recommend a
time on
joint
Monday were you
meeting, and that way
thinking,
you can all decide.
I'm sorry, Mary, could you say that again?
I would recommend a joint meeting between the Board of Selectmen and the Building Committee, so you can come to a decision right then.
Hey, we have a meeting Monday.
yeah, and Selectman Tinio, we were just discussing if the governor gives direction that allows you to make a decision that potentially we could resume work in the interior of the police station, hypothetically, at some point we're going to resume. Let's just say, depending on what the governor's guidance is on Monday, you decide to do that. We just want to make sure we're prepared to have a meeting to approve a change. We'll be the ones that'll be approving a construction change directive with the architect to move forward. So we were wondering, should we post for Monday or not? That's what we were just discussing. So are people available on Monday? We could always just hear the select board's discussion, and then we could just call into our own meeting and have a discussion. Their meeting is at 6:30, and it's not a huge agenda, and the discussion is second on the list, so it should be pretty early. If we wanted to meet at like 7, we could certainly do that. I mean, whatever people thought, or we wait till Tuesday. I'm open.
Are people
So I
available
have-
Monday at 7?
Yes.
I'm
This
available.
is Linda.
and willing
Monday's
to call
fine.
in.
I mean,
All right.
guys,
let's-
if they come back and start working, I mean, guys have made other arrangements to work, I'm sure. So even if we get the okay for Monday or Tuesday, it's probably going to be a week out the following Monday by the time they get people back in there, I would think.
That's a
Maybe
good
I'm
point,
wrong.
Eric.
It depends on the trade. Some of the trades, like the painter has been trying to get in there and the flooring guy, but not all of them, you're right. And I am available Monday for the selectmen's meeting and the other meeting if you need it. And Tower has also put the offer out there that they will call into any meeting or attend any meeting that the owner wants.
So,
All right. Why don't we go down the roll call list and we'll see who's available for Monday night. We'll start with that. Dawn?
I'm available.
Keith?
I'm available.
Linda?
Yes, I'm available.
Eric?
yeah, I'm available after the
Margaret?
selectmen meeting.
I am not available Monday or Tuesday next week.
You are not?
Not Monday or Tuesday. I will be later in the week.
Okay, thank you. JP?
This would be at 7 PM, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, I can do that, I think.
All right. So Dawn, it looks like we should be able to get a quorum for Monday at 7. So do you want to post for Monday at 7?
I'll do that. And do you want me to just limit it to one agenda topic and then have a normal meeting on Wednesday, or like what do you want to just have a full meeting on Monday? Because we should have, I'm assuming we'll have something from KBA regarding this granite to also discuss. Do you want to try to do that all on Monday?
I think we'll try and do it all on Monday if we can, just so we're not making people do multiple nights if we can avoid it for them.
Okay, I will draft an agenda. We do have to post tomorrow in order to meet Monday, so I will get that to you so you can review an agenda and we'll get it posted tomorrow.
Okay. So that takes care of next meeting date, time, and agenda. Eric?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank
Second.
you very much. All right, thank you all. We will talk on Monday night,
you.
and in the interim, please be safe.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.